Hello. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Welcome to the Voorhees Township Committee meeting of October 17, 2016. Please rise and join me in a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Friedman?
Here.
Mr. Platt?
Here.
Mr. Addis?
He's here. Here.
Ms. Vignona?
Here.
Ms. Macedo?
Nice.
Here.
Here.
Good evening, everyone. This meeting is being held in accordance with the requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act. Due notice of this meeting has been published by the clerk in both the Courier Post and Inquirer newspapers. Also, a copy of the annual meeting notice has been posted on the bulletin board outside the clerk's office. I'm obligated to inform you that there's no smoking in the building by state law. Ask that you take note of the emergency exits to the rear of the room, also up front on either side of Township Committee. Finally, you should be aware that the meeting is being videotaped and will be shown on the local public access channels at a later date. Thank you. Mayor?
Thank you. Our first matter this evening is the second reading of an ordinance amending Chapter 113 entitled Gasoline Stations. This is the second reading of an ordinance, so I will open it up to the public. If there's anyone from the public that has any questions or comments regarding this ordinance, please come forward.
Seeing no one, move to close public portion.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The public portion for that ordinance is closed. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, may I have a roll call vote, please?
Friedman?
Yes.
Mr. Platt?
Yes.
Mr. Addis?
Yes.
Ms. Macedo? Yes. Mayor Vignona?
Yes. So carried. Our next matter is the second reading of an ordinance of the Township of Voorhees, County of Camden, and State of New Jersey, amending, revising, and/or supplementing the redevelopment plan for the Town Center Redevelopment Overlay Zone as set forth in Section 152.137 of the Voorhees Township Unified Land Development Ordinance. Again, this is the second reading of an ordinance. I will open it up to the public. If there's anyone from the public that has any questions or comments about this, please come forward.
Seeing no one, move to close public portion.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Public portion for that ordinance is closed. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, may we have a roll call vote, please?
Friedman?
Yes.
Mr. Platt?
Yes.
Mr. Addis?
Yes.
Ms. Macedo? Yes. Mayor Vignona?
Yes. So carried. The next matter is the first reading of an ordinance of the Township of Voorhees, County of Camden, and State of New Jersey, amending, revising, and supplementing Chapter 158 of the Unified Land Development Ordinance and the Voorhees Township Code entitled Schedules. Do I have a motion on the first reading of that ordinance?
So moved.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none of those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Our next section is the public portion for resolutions only. If there's anyone from the public that has any questions or comments regarding any of our resolutions this evening, please come forward.
Seeing no one, move to close public portion.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The public portion for resolutions is closed. Our first resolution is number 205-16, insertion of an item of revenue into the budget, $4,349.53, New Jersey Body Armor Replacement Fund. Do I have a motion on that resolution? Motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none of those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? So carried. Our next resolution is number 206-16, authorizing the execution of the First Amendment to the Developers Agreement between Voorhees Township and Khmer Buddhist Church, Block 262, Lot 6. Do I have a motion on that resolution?
Moved.
Second. Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none of those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? So carried. Our next resolution is number 207-16, endorsing a joint application to the New Jersey Department of Transportation, Transportation Alternative Program, TAP. Do I have a motion on that resolution?
So moved.
Second. Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none of those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? So carried. Our next resolution is number 208-16, authorizing Voorhees Township to sell township-owned land. Do I have a motion on that resolution? Motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Our next resolution is number 209-16, authorizing an amendment to the contract for Crescent Road improvements. Do I have a motion on that resolution?
So moved.
Second. Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Our next resolution is number 210-16, establishing a policy for tax appeal notification. Do I have a motion on that resolution?
Motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Our next resolution is number 211-16, establishing hours for trick-or-treating from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Do I have a motion on that resolution?
Motion. Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none of those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Our next resolution is number 212-16, authorizing and approving a proposal and professional services agreement between the Township of Voorhees and Stampede Consulting LLC. Do I have a motion on that resolution?
Mayor, can I interrupt? Can we expound upon what that is, please?
Sure.
For the audience.
Howard, you want to take that?
Actually, I would defer to Mr. Platt.
Yes, that resolution is to do two things, again, Stuart Platt for the record, special counsel. That resolution to do two things. One is to begin the petition process based upon what you've heard, what you've seen, and reports that we've received concerning the investigation into the financial mismanagement and public safety issues regarding the separate and autonomous Voorhees Fire District. And based upon a number of reports that are included with the resolution, including that of Dr. Harry Carter, a vote of no confidence that this governing body and the public received last month, as well as a letter from the union that's representing the professional and career firefighters and medical technicians, that they request that this governing body take action to move to dissolve the Voorhees Fire District. This resolution begins the process under Chapter 91 of the Fire District Statutes to authorize a petition to be circulated, and the language in the petition is in the resolution, and if the mayor wants to read that for the record, he certainly can. And also to procure the services of Stampede Consulting LLC, which is a professional service to circulate that petition. And the statute requires that we receive the written signatures of at least 5% of the registered voters in Voorhees Township. So two things: you're authorizing the petition to be circulated, and with the language in the petition that's set forth under Chapter 91 of the statute, and you're authorizing the procurement of this firm to assist us with gathering the signatures and verifying the signatures. And if the requisite number of signatures are obtained, then a petition would be presented to the governing body, at which time a public hearing would be scheduled on notice to the public, and this governing body would take up the question of whether or not the independent and autonomous Voorhees Fire District should be dissolved and consolidated into the township as a municipal fire department, much in the way that we have our own police department. So that is the short and the long of the resolution before you.
Okay. I will read the petition into the record. Whereas the undersigned are residents and legal voters in the Township of Voorhees, Camden County, State of New Jersey, whereas NJSA 40A:14-91 provides that upon a written application, therefore, of at least 5% of the registered voters or 20 legal voters, whichever is the greater, the governing body of the municipality where the fire district is located shall consider the dissolution of the fire district, and upon receipt of such an application, the governing body of said municipality shall fix a time and place for hearing thereon. After the hearing, the governing body of said municipality shall determine the question of the proposed dissolution. Whereas it is in the best interest of the undersigned and the public would be served by the dissolution of the Voorhees Fire District as aforesaid, Now therefore, we, the undersigned, do hereby petition the Voorhees Township Committee to hold a hearing and adopt a resolution in accordance with NJSA 40A:14-91 to dissolve the Voorhees Fire District and consolidate it as a fire department within the Township of Voorhees. And then there are lines for residents to sign that petition if they so choose. Do I have a motion on Resolution 212-16?
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? So carried. There's no need for executive session this evening. Next section is approval of the minutes from September 26, 2016. Our municipal court report for September 2016, our treasurer's report for September 2016, and bills posted for October 17, 2016. Do I have a motion for approval of those?
Motion.
Second. Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none of those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? So carried. Next section is comments from our committee. Any comments from our committee this evening?
I have a comment, Mayor. Last Wednesday night was Voorhees Township, Voorhees Fire Department Fire Prevention Night. Originally, I believe it was scheduled for October 5th. Somewhere along the lines, that date got changed to last Wednesday. The significance of last Wednesday, for those that do not know, Tuesday night at sundown begins the holiest 24 hours for the Jewish community of the year. So take whatever your religion is and the holiest day of the year and line that up with someone like me or Committeeman Platt or Committeeman Friedman, and it is the holiest day of our year. And even if, I suppose, anyone who has a religion, even if you're not the most religious person, the least I think we all can do is respect the religion. And that would go for whether you celebrate the religion or not, especially when you have a very diverse community. So last Wednesday night, sundown was probably 7:15, 7:20, 7:25. The Jewish calendar takes care of that for those that celebrate and observe, as we call it. And somehow Fire Prevention Night, which is a great night, it's a great showcase for multiple fire departments in the area, for our police department, children of all ages, adults who are interested, to visit with people that are there to protect us and serve, and it's a great community outreach event. But for some mysterious reason, it was moved from October 5th, which would have been a benign date. If I'm wrong, 1 or 2 days. Okay. That's what I recall. To mysteriously getting placed when Yom Kippur is ending. I think it started at 7. Yom Kippur probably ended, like I said, 7:15, 7:20, 7:25. But, as everybody knows who does things with families, celebrates, has a holiday with family, you eat with your family, and whether you like them or not, you spend time with your family. And cousins get together and spend time together and ransack the house. And adults do what they do and fight and talk and catch up. And again, I will say, it is the holiest 24 hours of the Jewish calendar. So, for me, I was driving home from my brother's over on Regency, and I drove, I guess, down 561 or cut through, and I saw the lights from the 2 ladder engines that were kind of brought like this, and the American flag up there, and all the lights. I could see it from 561. And at first I was driving back home and drove right by it because of my religion. And because I thought it would be an offense to my religion. And I'm not the most religious person, but I'm going to respect my religion. I'm going to respect everybody else who celebrates any holiday. I drove all the way back to where I live. I parked my car, sat there, and I drove back to Eastern. And from my perspective, I should not have to deal with a conflict, and I don't think any person who celebrates a holiday should have to be conflicted by either their interest. For me, it was civic responsibility of holding this job, and where my religion conflicted with it. No one should have to deal with any kind of conflict. Doesn't matter who you are, what you do. And I drove back. And I went for like 15 minutes, said hello to people that were putting on the night, and then turned back and left. And left my son. Because I wouldn't let him come. Because I was trying to also set an example. I set a bad example for him by going, but by not letting him go, I was trying to kind of have it both ways. And that's what really started to anger me. And again, it doesn't matter what religion you celebrate in this community. And we have a very diverse community where every holiday, I would think, gets celebrated. And I think it was absolutely disgraceful, whether it was on purpose, whether it wasn't. There's rumor and innuendo out there right now. Absolutely disgraceful that the fire commissioners rescheduled that night from October 5th to as Yom Kippur was ending. It is beyond insensitive, beyond ignorant. We got between 5 and 10 complaints from people in the community on our online forums, from members of the Jewish community. I'm pretty sure if this information got public and people realized what was happening, that there would be people of all races and religions complaining right now. But it is absolutely disgraceful. And I'm not blaming anyone in the fire department, because the people that work there just do what they're told from the commissioners. But that move was an absolute ignorant, disgraceful move. Very, very poor example to set for our community. And should not happen in this day and age, or ever, to anybody, and anybody who celebrates. And I thought about this over the weekend when I was away, and it's absolutely disgraceful. And typically in the Jewish community, there are organizations that handle this kind of stuff on behalf of the Jewish community, like same do for other religions. We don't need that attention and worries, because it's bad attention. And I would encourage everybody who's here in attendance, especially those affiliated with the fire department, feel free to share at least my sentiment, because it's absolutely beyond ignorant. And I don't know that I could act professionally right now if there were people here who were responsible for it. Just as I would think everybody else would be ultra sensitive about their own religion, that I would defend anybody's religion. So I would ask our township administrator, Larry, to contact Deputy Chief Wharton and try to get some information from him on how this could possibly happen in this town with this type of Jewish population in town.
We received multiple phone calls, people calling the township asking the question, and we couldn't give an answer because we don't know the answer.
So I would ask Larry to find out the answer so that we can communicate with the residents that called here, the residents that went online, to get an answer, because it's absolutely disgraceful that this would happen. And again, we don't want the attention from the Anti-Defamation League, from Jewish Community Relations Council. I'm beyond speechless.
It's not the first time also. And the times it's brought to their attention before, it's repeated ignorance. It's flat out ignorance. No question about it. We wouldn't schedule a township event on the morning of Christmas Eve. We just wouldn't do it. Eric says, well, it's past sundown, the holiday's over. It's not the idea. You don't schedule something for 4 o'clock on a Christmas Eve and say it won't offend anybody's religion. It's flat out ignorance on the commissioner's part. That's the reason for it. That's what you're going to find out. There's no other answer, because it's happened before. It's been brought to their attention before, yet they continually make the same ignorant, stupid moves. Stupidity, ignorance are the 2 words to use. That's it.
One thing I forgot to mention, Larry, you'll follow with Wharton, but Committeeman Friedman, you're the liaison of the fire district, as we just discussed. I think it'd also be good if it came from you, especially you being Jewish, and I'm sure not happy with that.
I am, and I wasn't able to go either, Jason. So, yeah, and I usually take my kids as well.
Right.
My son enjoys the night, so I'm happy to discuss it with them and express the feelings that have been expressed tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Our final portion is our public portion. Is anyone from the public with any questions or comments? Come forward.
Yes. Stuart Platt, 8 Hazelhurst Drive. I want to echo the sentiments of Deputy Mayor Ravitz and the other members of the committee about this abomination of the Voorhees Fire District scheduling a fire prevention event or any other event on the holiest day on the Jewish calendar. You don't need to be Jewish to understand that's wrong. I think Committeeman Platt said it was stupidity and ignorance. To me, it's moronic imbecility. I think those are same terms.
You're twisting my words.
Same thought, different words. This issue comes up from time to time in communities that don't have a large, diverse community, large Jewish community. And whether we have a large Jewish community or a small Jewish community, it doesn't really matter. You don't need to be Jewish to realize that this is a problem. The fact that it was moved, if that in fact is true, from one night to the other, is specifically problematic because there was apparently an intent to, not just ignorance, but it might have been on purpose. I don't know, and I think Deputy Mayor Ravitz makes a good point, that there should be an investigation. Questions should be asked. I quite frankly don't mind if the light of day shines on the fire district for this type of a move, this type of ignorance. It has nothing to do with the firefighters themselves, the volunteers and the career. That has nothing to do with them, I don't believe. But I think it should be looked into because it's an important issue. And the public should know, if anybody sees or listens to this, it has nothing to do with this township governing body. It's a separate autonomous board that makes their own decisions. They have their own elections. They have their own budget. We have a school board in this town. They have off for Jewish holidays. They have off for other religious holidays. I don't understand the problem. Do they need a calendar? If you go into any store, almost any store in New Jersey, maybe not in West Virginia, don't disrespect West Virginia, you get any calendar, it has major holidays. Yom Kippur is a major holiday. It's the most sacred holiday on the Jewish calendar. It's a problem. I don't know if we need to send them a calendar. I don't know what it will take to forgive the ignorance here, but, you know, if there's a problem, if it was the first time, if there was a problem with this year, you might say, okay, they just didn't know. And there's nothing wrong with explaining different holidays, different cultures to different people, but elected officials, and this apparently goes on and has gone on for some time, according to Committeeman Platt, and I have absolutely no reason to doubt him. Just give you a brief history lesson, because I know that everybody is, it's a long day for everybody. And I've said this in other communities when this issue's come up. The Jewish people, the Jewish community has been in this country, the first Jews arrived in 1654. We've been here for 350 years. Does it really take 350 years for the Voorhees Fire District to figure out that there are Jews living in this community, not in Voorhees, but in this country, and certainly in Voorhees, to figure out that they need to respect not only Jewish holidays, but every other holiday. The folks that came here in 1654 were refugees from the Spanish Inquisition indirectly. And it's ironic that this issue has come up because they came from Spain originally to Brazil. And when the Inquisition went from Spain and went to the New World to Brazil, which was a colony of the Spanish government, the Inquisition came to the New World. They had to flee from Brazil in 1654. They had to flee because they were not allowed to practice their religion in public. That's exactly what's going on here. Deputy Mayor Ravitz and anybody else who celebrated the holiday had to choose between practicing their holiday and doing their civic duty, their duties as an elected official. Shouldn't even be an issue. And I feel bad. I truly do that you or anybody else would have to make that kind of decision. I don't know what happened here, but the problem is that it needs to be looked into, and they need to understand that this mistake cannot happen again. If it was a mistake, if it was an error, we excuse people. And because people are ignorant doesn't mean that they can't learn. But it seems like this has gone on all too often. It seems like it may have been intentionally done because they moved it from one night to the other. I don't know if we have to start giving them a calendar at the beginning of the year, because everybody else has a calendar in the beginning of the year, to figure it out. By the way, if it was done intentionally, I don't care about not shedding light on that fire district. I will contact the ADL. I will contact the Jewish Community Relations Council. I will contact every group that can, and it's not just Jewish groups, every group, the State Holocaust Commission, any other group that believes in diversity, that believes that we shouldn't be having public events on high holidays for any religion, should go to the fire district and find out why this was done. And if it was done intentionally, what's behind that? Because that's a problem to me and any other well-mannered, any other good-natured, and any other citizen of goodwill that cares about their community and cares about the diversity that we have in this community and all other communities. So I applaud you for bringing this issue up. I applaud the committee for looking into this, and for all of you who do observe the holiday, Happy New Year.
Mr. Platt, thank you for speaking up. Just speaking as a member of the Voorhees Diversity and Cultural Committee, I can tell you that speaking for them, I would agree that we are disappointed in this type of ignorance. It was on the township calendar, from my understanding, for the 5th, and somehow got moved without consideration. And you're correct, our schools were closed that day, so it is disappointing. And, you know, even though it is not the township's fault per se, you know, our apologies from, you know, us that you guys were put in this position without, you know, as Deputy Mayor said, having to choose. We want all residents to feel welcome to all events and not be put in that position. So I'm sure that our township manager will get back to us with, you know, what happens.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from our public this evening?
Being none, I'll make a motion to close public portion.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? We are now moving into a work session. Good evening.